In France, Victor tries to get phone reception on the train car, but tells Nikki, nothing. They wonder about Cole and hope he's better by now. She complains about not being able to communicate with the outside world. They're being held in a high-end prison courtesy of Kane Ashby. Nikki wonders what they can do about the situation and notes Victor doesn't seem very rattled. Victor thinks if Kane shows them his cards, maybe he'll ask him to join forces with them. Just then, Kane appears. Victor tells him his timing couldn't be better. "We missed you last night." Kane had some business to take care of. He came to share some good news. The tracks should be fixed, and they can go by next week. Nikki says they're making the best of it. Kane notes this is a turnaround from the other day. Victor says they haven't been on a vacation for a long time. It's wonderful there. Kane's surprised he's letting go of his suspicions. Victor says he still has them. Kane asks what part of his announcement still has Victor suspicious. Victor says he doesn't believe he's done with Chancellor, but he understands his motivation is Lily. Victor insists she's happy at Winters. He should forget about Chancellor. It will never be his. Kane calls Victor out for making suppositions based on nothing. Nikki says anyone can see he has regrets about letting her go. Kane says his feelings about Lily are private. Victor reiterates that Chancellor will never be his. "But I have a proposition for you." He asks Kane to take a walk with him. Nick joins Nikki and complains that he and Sharon need to reach the kids. This is crazy. They wonder again about Cole. Nikki only wants to think positive thoughts. Nick rants that he'll walk out of here if this doesn't sort itself out soon. Nikki relays that his father went for a walk with Kane. Nick hopes he's pressuring him to get them out of there. Nikki says he wants to try and form an alliance with Kane. She's afraid to ask the details. Nick questions Victor's turnaround. Nikki says he now believes befriending Kane is the best plan of attack. Nick complains that Kane is a wild card. Nikki agrees. He's not the same man they knew. Why is he coming out of the shadows now? Nick wonders if he's trying to make a statement. "What are you afraid of, Mom?" She says Kane wants Chancellor badly. She hopes Victor doesn't underestimate him. They have too much to lose if he does. Phyllis strolls into the maze and wishes Amanda good morning. She notices that she seems mad. Amanda snaps that she's narcissistic. A friend wouldn't do what she did. She made it look as though she was planning a power grab behind her boss's back. Phyllis says that's what they were doing. Amanda's angry about her putting her in this position with Kane. Phyllis apologizes sincerely, but notes he seemed to take it well. Amanda says that's not the point. Phyllis wants to move on. She has something else to talk to her about. Amanda says it's too early and will have to wait. Phyllis happened to hear a private conversation that changes everything. Amanda says, "Conversation about what?" Phyllis says, "Everything. Someone's been lying to them from the beginning, and they both know who it is." Amanda has no idea who Phyllis is talking about and asks whose conversation she heard. Phyllis says, "Yours, with Carter." Amanda fumes. Phyllis asks her not to get defensive. She heard that Kane has had a way on and off of this property. Amanda says that's absurd. Phyllis heard her talking about him coming back from Genoa City last night. Amanda continues to deny it. Phyllis isn't delusional. She questions why Kane would leave when everyone he wants to do business with is there. Amanda insists he didn't leave. Phyllis thinks she's starting to put it together. Kane doesn't want to do business with anyone there. He wants to do it against them at home, right? That's the plan. That's been the plan since the start, right? Amanda says Kane wants to go home. Why can't it be that simple? Phyllis knows he's not planning a warm and cozy homecoming. Who is on the corporate hit list? Amanda's reaction lets her know she's right. Amanda rants that she's causing trouble. Phyllis doesn't want to attack Kane. She wants to be a part of it. Amanda can't tell her anything. Phyllis warns she's not giving her a lot of options here. She won't tell anyone that Kane left. Amanda asks, "And in return?" Phyllis says, "You know what's in return?" Amanda says this sounds suspiciously like blackmail. Elsewhere in the maze, Victor and Kane make small talk as the mustache muses about the roads and tracks seemingly becoming impassable. Kane offers to show him the work site. Victor believes him. Kane asks about his proposition. Victor muses about his father being a con man and wonders how much of that is in him. Kane wonders if he thinks he's done something he should be ashamed of. Victor's just blown away by what he's accomplished. Victor asks him to sit and asks him why they should be adversaries. What would he think of working together? At the Mays dining table, Phyllis tells Amanda that blackmail is an ugly word. She's not making threats, just letting her know she can be a team player. She decides she should tell Kane himself. Amanda doesn't think she should talk to him. Phyllis argues Kane was impressed by her pitch. Amanda contends that he never promised her a job. She claims not to know where he is. Phyllis doesn't believe her. She knows what she heard. Kane went to Genoa City and came back immediately. He obviously has something planned. Amanda asks why she should tell her. Phyllis says she's her friend and she can trust her. Amanda points out that she eavesdropped on her and is blackmailing her. Phyllis insists she's on her side and on Kane's side. She already considers herself a part of the team. Kane appears and is glad to hear that. The question is, how far would you be willing to go to stay on the team? Phyllis tells Kane she needs a commitment from him in return. Amanda tries to get Phyllis to leave, but the redhead wants to talk to him. Kane asks if everything is okay between them. They both insist everything is fine. Phyllis tells Kane she knows all the players and isn't afraid to get her hands dirty. Kane's well aware and thinks he could use someone like her on his team. He warns there will be personal stakes involved here to prove her loyalty. Who would you be willing to betray to show me you're a real team player? Would she throw Billy or Jack under the bus? He'll make it harder. Would you betray Nick? Phyllis thinks her colorful reputation answers that question for him. I already told you that I'm in. Kane asks again who she would outturn against. Phyllis says that's a lot to ask when he hasn't even told her his plan. Why would he bring up Billy and Jack? Is he going after Abbott Communications or Jabot? Kane tells her she's a smart woman. Connect the dots. Phyllis guesses that he still wants Chancellor. He tells her to think bigger. Think bigger than you could possibly imagine. What if he were to tell her he wants all of them, even Newman Enterprises? What would you say to that? Phyllis asks if this is a test. Kane says he'd be controlling a massive conglomerate of every business in Genoa City. Amanda titters that he's rendered Phyllis speechless. Kane wonders if she thinks he's crazy. She asks, "Is this something you could do?" Does he have a plan? Amanda says it's gotten this far, and she would never underestimate what Kane Ashby could do. Phyllis is on board. She'll be right there by his side. He asks, "What about your friends?" Phyllis scoffs that Billy has thrown her under the bus, and Jack would know it's just business. Kane asks about betraying Nick. Phyllis replies, "Even Nick," but she looks slightly ill at ease. On the train car, Nick's sure that Victor admires what Kane has built, but assures his mother he'll protect Chancellor. Nikki's concerned that Victor will talk Kane into going after Jabot. Nick suspects that Kane won't be easily manipulated. He likes being in control, and in Victor's world, there can only be one king. They don't know Kane's endgame and need to be careful before getting into business with him. Victor appears, and Nikki asks what he and Kane talked about. He smirks. Victor reports that Kane claims he's no longer interested in Chancellor, but he doesn't believe him. Just then, Adam staggers in, sweating and dirty. They gawp and ask how he got up there with everything closed. Adam gasps, "Trust me, it wasn't easy." Adam sits and explains he had to bribe people to find the chateau, and no one would rent him a car. He learned the usual way up there was by train, and the tracks are out. He's surprised to hear they're staying in the train car, not the chateau, and that there's a maze. Adam reveals he walked to get there. On a path up the mountain, it took him 3 hours. The Newmans are astounded. Nikki asks about Cole. Adam says they transferred him to Genoa City, but it's been tough on Victoria and Claire. Nikki wants out of there and is prepared to walk down the mountain. They go over there, being no cell reception. Adam sighs. Then they haven't been getting his messages. The reason Adam came up there is he found information on Aristotle Dumas. And you're not going to like it, Pop. You're not going to like it one bit. Adam assumes they've met Dumas. Nick tells his brother he won't believe who it is. Adam guesses it's Colin Atkinson. Victor says close. It's his son. Adam says Kane was his and Chelsea's second guess. He tells them Arabesque has been buying up a ton of real estate in Genoa City since they left. He bought real estate surrounding Newman and Jabot, and even bought the athletic club. He also purchased Chancellor's old divisions. They're stunned to hear that Kane was in Genoa City yesterday, and there is a way out of there. Nick fumes that he's going to find Kane and make him tell them the way out of there. Nikki cries that they need to get home. Victor says they will. Adam senses that Victor has a plan. Victor says Kane has been playing his game so far. Let's see how he does when he starts playing my game. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Claire's already dealing with the sucker punch of her father Cole's untimely death, so she's not in a good place to handle what's coming next. As young and restless viewers well know, Kyle's been getting closer with Audra during their time together in France, and the scene is being set for Claire's crazy to make a big comeback. Claire had little time to prepare for the loss of her father, given that they believed he'd make a full recovery. His death was downright shocking for both her and Victoria, who will be in no shape to be a support system for her daughter. Reeling and unable to reach Kyle in her time of need, Claire will surely turn to Holden for a shoulder to lean on. Although he genuinely seems to like Claire, he was directed by Kane to get close to her for nefarious reasons, so that's another looming negative. Meanwhile, over in Nice, despite their insistence that they loathe one another, Kyle and Audra are clearly beginning to remember what it was about each other that made sparks fly, and that old flame could reignite. Even if they managed to resist temptation, the suggestion of impropriety wouldn't be hard to imply for someone looking to destabilize Nikki's right hand at Chancellor Industries. All Kane would have to do is catch Audra and Kyle in a compromising position and ensure the evidence was made available to Claire. That would be where Holden comes in. Discovering her first love's apparent infidelity, on top of losing her newly discovered dad, would undoubtedly push Claire over the edge. Believing Kyle was cheating on her when she needed him most would absolutely drive Claire back into the darker and crazier recesses of her mind. And it's long overdue. Can you imagine if Claire taking guidance from the late great crazy Aunt Jordan? It's a good thing Devin still likes his wife, because he's downright miserable when it comes to everyone else. The writers are definitely setting the scene for Tessa and Daniel to end up together. Chelsea spotting Holden's attempted con job was the most interesting thing she's done in eons. Jack's not going to be happy about Billy signing a pledge to hand Sally the reins at Abbott Communications. I can't even imagine Nikki walking 3 hours down a mountain. Coming up, Damien will be screwed after Kane catches him kissing Lily, especially after making this life-altering mistake previously. However you define there and that, young and restless Nikki has been there and done that. So she is not someone who rattles easily. However, the intense drama that Kane has brought back to the fore along with his return, it's weighing heavily on Victor's better half. She's never worried about how it will impact their marriage. Executive producer, head writer Josh Griffith tells Soaps.com. I think she knows this marriage is for the ages, but, and of course there's a but. She worries about how it will impact the family, how it will impact Victor. The scribe continues. Victor's been through a lot too, and coming on the heels of literally being shot by Ian Ward, is he messing with someone else's, who could pull a metaphoric or real trigger? In many ways, Kane 2.0 is still an unknown entity. We could predict where the old Kane would draw a line in the sand. After so many years away, though, can we be as sure of the Kane of today? He has come in with a huge game plan, Griffith previously told us. On top of everything else that's causing her to lose sleep, Nikki has to fret over the future of Chancellor Industries. Victor entrusted the company to her, and she'd be loath to let her dear friend Catherine's life's work slip through her fingers. Phyllis has a new plan. It's been minutes since Victor last scored a victory, and the young and the restless spoilers for Monday, July 7th, are making it clear he's due for another triumph. So let him at it. Victor is always 12 steps ahead of anyone else. Remember when no one knew that Kane was Aristotle Dumas? Victor knew. Sure, he didn't mention it to a soul until Kane had made his dramatic entrance, but as soon as Kane revealed himself, Victor was there to say, "I knew it all along." Nobody dared challenge him. Now Victor has a brilliant plan to strike back. He's going to wait until Kane screws up, and then, when he does, Victor will bellow, "I made that happen!" Nobody will dare challenge him, and then Victor will lean back smugly and gloat. It's amazing how he's always right, after the fact. While Lily has been flirting with Damien, and Devin has been failing at manipulating Amanda, and Sharon and Nick have been snacking, Phyllis has been lurking. Phyllis excels at lurking, and finally, Phyllis's lurking has paid off. Phyllis has overheard Amanda and Kane's assistant discuss Kane being in Genoa City. Now she has leverage she can use against him, and she will. Audra has been pursuing Kyle as part of her scheme to get Victor to fund her company. And Kyle seemed to have been responding, but then he stopped. Maybe it's because Diane knocked some sense into him. Though somehow we doubt it. We suppose it's possible Kyle has come to his senses all on his own, but that sounds even less likely. What's more likely is that Kyle thinks he has some new, clever plan to outsmart Audra and Victor, which confuses Audra. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease a July sweeps update reveals some exciting storylines. The true identity of Aristotle Dumas has been uncovered, leading to new mysteries taking the spotlight as Kane Ashby steps into the limelight. To start with, Kane's journey to Genoa City will lead to a discussion with Holden Novak, who is secretly still working for Dumas and assisting with property acquisitions in GC. In the upcoming episodes, Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman are set to uncover several Kane-related revelations. These revelations will ultimately result in Adam making a dramatic entrance at the party in Nice shortly afterward. While Kane intends to demonstrate that he can be a significant adversary, it may just be a pipe dream. Victor usually stays a few moves ahead of his competitors and tends to emerge victorious in the end. Kane's bound to learn this lesson the hard way when his schemes spectacularly unravel. However, danger might emerge as the most urgent concern since a mystery is unfolding. Kane has already informed Chance Chancellor about someone plotting to take him out, making an assassination attempt seem likely. Will Kane steer the narrative towards a near-murder mystery, or could an actual one be developing if another character is eliminated instead? Regardless, Damien Kane could find himself in serious trouble since he handled that knife on the train. All indications suggest that it is the weapon linked to this crime, which means Damien could be wrongfully implicated. As Kyle Abbott and Audra Charles navigate a perilous magnetic pole in Nice, Claire Newman and Victoria Newman will confront some grief in Chicago. This is where Cole Howard is receiving treatment and may be nearing his final moments as he prepares to bid farewell to Victoria and Claire from his hospital room. If Kyle crosses the line with Audra, he's sure to feel remorse, particularly if he eventually reaches out to Claire and discovers that Cole has passed away. Kyle might find himself eager to conceal any infidelity that occurs, but in soap operas, scandalous truths have a tendency to surface. Another intriguing mystery plot will unfold in July, so let's delve into Mariah Copeland and her increasingly troubling situation. It appears that Mariah might be hiding a crime, so did she end the life of that stranger during her business trip? Or at least attempt to? Regardless, Y&R spoilers indicate that the events will come back to haunt Mariah significantly. Daniel Romalotti Jr. reassured Danny Romalotti that he was merely friends with Tessa Porter. But will that remain the case after her split from Mariah? A shift is on the horizon for Danny's relationship status as he prepares to propose. Christine Blair is expected to say the yes he desires, hinting at upcoming engagement news and wedding plans. This wedding has been anticipated for quite some time, as Danny and Christine began their romance when she was a teenager known as Cricket. Let's keep our fingers crossed that Phyllis Summers doesn't interfere again. Attempting to derail The Bug, The Young and the Restless, spoilers indicate that thrilling storylines are on the way, so make sure to stay tuned for all the excitement unfolding this July. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Phyllis Summers has had a rough go as of late. From being kidnapped by Martin Laurent to watching her son, Daniel Romalotti, struggle with the loss of his partner, Heather Stevens, and on top of everything else, she's had a string of romantic rejections. But is a love story on the horizon for her, sooner than fans think? The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans. Phyllis has had a terrible streak when it comes to love triangles. Diane Jenkins ended up winning Jack Abbott's heart shortly after she returned to Genoa City in 22, and Jack quickly cut Red loose to pursue things with the mother of his son. Then there was Danny Romalotti, who ended a friendship with Phyllis to ensure his romantic reunion with Christine Blair went smoothly. More recently, Phyllis seemed to have feelings for Billy Abbott, but he fired her from Abbott Communications and gave her job to gal pal Sally Spectra. Can Phyllis catch a break when it comes to love? Phyllis is long overdue for some romance, but is there anyone in Genoa City who could match her feistiness? Now that Kane Ashby has been revealed as Aristotle Dumas, there's a chance these two could link up. After all, Phyllis was in hot pursuit of Dumas for business reasons, and it sounds like there will be a role in his company for the redhead. So could Phyllis help him get over Lily Winters? There's also a chance that she and Nick could reunite, as the very idea of their relationship moving in this direction could cause a ton of drama, especially since Sharon Newman still has feelings for Nick, and she's become close to Phyllis. Then again, the CBS soap could also bring in someone new, just for Phyllis. Only time will tell. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Claire Grace Newman is grieving Cole Howard. With Kyle Abbott out of the country and unreachable, this could put Holden Novak in an interesting position, especially considering that Kane Ashby has given him a list of names. Could Claire end up pregnant, and if so, will she keep her affair a secret? Keep reading and let's talk about what could happen with this storyline. Let's begin with Kyle, who is out of the country with several other people in Genoa City. The Newman and Abbott families went to Nice. While Kyle and everyone else learned that Aristotle Dumas is actually Kane, none of them seemed to have cell service. Kyle mentioned to Audra Charles that he really needed to check in with his girlfriend. While Audra seemed dismissive at first, Kyle reminded her that Claire's father is fighting for his life. In any case, Kyle never could get any bars on his phone, so he will be distracted by Audra. Back in Genoa City, Claire and Victoria Newman are heartbroken about Cole's death. Fans know that Claire really needs support, but aside from Victoria, most of her family is in Nice, at Kane's estate. Of course, Claire will undoubtedly have another panic attack. It is assumed that Holden will jump to Claire's rescue once again. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Holden has already begun forming a connection with Claire. Then, Holden received a list of names to get closer to, one of which was Claire. With almost everyone out of town, Holden will have an easier time getting Claire to open up and trust him. These two might even end up in bed together, especially if they keep sharing Vespers together. Kyle might come back from Nice and frantically try to explain he had no cell service. If Claire cheated, she might not want to lose Kyle, so she could keep quiet. However, Claire could become pregnant. What will she tell Kyle then? Will she try to keep her betrayal a secret and hope that the baby comes out looking like Kyle? I'm thinking about how obsessive and fixated Holden seemed when running into former flame Audra. I wonder if Holden will get just as obsessive once learning Claire is pregnant. It certainly would be an interesting twist, so stay tuned. Things are heating up on The Young and the Restless, and this time it's Mariah Copeland who finds herself in the eye of the storm. After returning from a business trip, Mariah's been in a deep emotional spiral on The Young and the Restless. She has actively stopped engaging with anyone from those closest to her, and distanced herself from Tessa, baby Aria, and even Sharon. Certainly, Mariah's recent behavior has sparked some speculation among viewers that the show might be setting up a possible exit for her character. The evidence is building guilt and clues. In recent episodes suggest that Mariah is in psychological turmoil, and all indicators point to a dark turn in Mariah's story that is coming soon. But what could be so unforgivable that it would propel Mariah to this end? Mariah returned from the business trip visibly shaken. The trip wasn't shown in the episode and was only referenced upon her return. Since then, she has stopped reaching out to everyone in her circle, including Tessa, Sharon, and, of course, her baby Aria. Although the time frame may have delayed it for storytelling purposes, viewers saw her declare that she is unfit to be around her child, referring to herself as a terrible, awful, criminal mommy. It was a serious moment, and Mariah seemed to genuinely believe whatever she had done was enough to put her family at risk. The storyline also introduces a mysterious older gentleman, played by and soap veteran Michael Swan, along with mentions of alcohol, which adds layers to the ambiguity. While the show has not yet provided any flashbacks or direct confessions, these elements hint at a serious mistake from impulsivity, or perhaps an accurate depiction of a larger scheme that disintegrated. Mariah's conflictedness is evident. She hasn't opened up to Tessa, who is empathetic and on her side, but also tone-deaf to what is happening. Mariah and Tessa's relationship is one of the strongest, most stable relationships in recent The Young and the Restless history and may not recover. Mariah's overwhelming guilt may be stifling and potentially be the strategy for her temporary or permanent departure. Behind the scenes, Cameron Grimes has confirmed she is not leaving, and it is in Cameron's best interest to go along with the scripted isolation before the flag is raised officially on The Young and the Restless. In the story, if Mariah is eventually revealed to have committed a crime, particularly one that may have harmed someone else, it would raise serious questions. If the crime also involved some form of story-worthy, emotionless incapacitation, it would complicate things even further. In that case, it would be nearly impossible to confidently believe Mariah should stay in Genoa City, considering the legal or otherwise. Self-imposed exile is another possible outcome. Mariah could choose to turn herself in or voluntarily leave the town to shield Tessa and Araya from the drama. This would serve as a possible exit strategy that could easily lend itself to that kind of return, should the writers allow it. Mariah has a long history on the show, and connection to the three long-standing core families with multiple storylines in between. Her departure would shake the canvas on The Young and the Restless. Meanwhile, this storyline could also serve a purpose. It tests Tessa as a character on her own. Mariah's exit from a relationship creates ambiguity for Tessa's next choices. She could continue in a story of her own, or her journey could end too, leaving the door open for just a story. If nothing else, the show may be framing a slow exit for Tessa Araya. Both actresses may have already had aggrieved commitments. What makes this plot so stark is how bleak it feels compared to Mariah just months ago when she was raising Arya, thriving career-wise, and establishing her footing personally and professionally. The writers appear to be embracing a storyline of collapse and redemption for Mariah, where her identity is taken apart to make way for a new arc or exit. If this is indeed the beginning of Mariah's exit storyline, these slow character developments and secrecy suggest that it will not be uninterrupted. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Cole Howard is gone. Claire Grace Newman will likely lean on Holden Novak in light of Kyle Abbott's absence. However, who will Victoria lean on with her closest family members unreachable in the south of France? Keep reading and let's talk about what could happen next with this storyline. Let's begin with Cole, who has died following a brief battle with Legionnaire's disease. It is a dangerous form of pneumonia. Even though he was transferred to a hospital that specializes in pneumonia, Cole just didn't make it. It was nice that Cole was able to wake up and say a final goodbye to his family. At least, Claire and Victoria got to say goodbye one last time. Claire immediately had a hard time controlling her emotions in the hospital room. She ran out, but eventually, she returned home with Victoria. The mother and daughter had a nice bonding moment when they talked about Cole. They even shared a few giggles despite their grief. Claire will likely need more support as the days go by. Kyle is still in Nice and unreachable, just like a lot of the Abbott and Newman family members. Fans know that Holden helped Claire with her panic attacks, so he will likely help her get through her grief, especially since her name is on the list that Kane Ashby gave to Holden. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that the Newman and Abbott families are unreachable. This isn't just bad news for Claire, but for Victoria as well. Normally, Victoria tries to work through her issues. The more that is bothering her, the harder and longer she works. It's her coping mechanism. However, the sobbing that Victoria displayed in the episode on Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, was phenomenal, and really seemed quite realistic. Victoria could have a lot of regrets, including about waiting so long before taking the plunge with Cole. Victoria needs her family, especially her mother. Victoria and Nikki Newman are extremely close. Nikki, Victor Newman, and Nick Newman are all in France and are unreachable. That means Victoria might have to go through a lot of grief on her own. Vicky is the type of character who won't want to weigh Claire down, although they could heal together. As Victoria tries to get through Cole's death, her family will return with bombshells. That means Victoria will put business and her family before her own healing. I could see Victoria drinking too much or popping pills to deal with her pain. Will this be her next story?